Hi, everybody. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're not a subscriber and maybe somebody recommended me to you, or you just were scrolling by and you found me and you like this, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button and help me out a little bit. So we have Republicans now voting for the big, bad, ugly Trump bill, the one that cuts Medicaid and gives, as I noted yesterday, almost the same dollar amount cut from Medicaid given to corporations in tax cuts. So the numbers don't lie, as we know. But again, I had to kind of be scrolling around to find that information as well. I think one reason Republicans feel so safe doing this, I mean, as a political strategist, I'm looking at it, it's like, this is political suicide. Well, guess what? The people who need to know what Republicans are doing don't know. And part of that, obviously, we know our media sucks. American media no longer is what it used to be. It hasn't been for quite some time in this era of Trump. So we all have to scroll around and find things that independent journalists, independent members of Congress, House and Senate members doing their own videos. But you have to go find it. And that is a real problem. And the reason Republicans are getting away with this is because Democrats are not a unified voice doing those daily briefings that I keep talking about over and over and over again, and that literally everybody else endorses. There's no reason for them not to be doing it. The only thing, and some of you have suggested this in comments and on social media, the only thing I can think of, and vehemently disagree with, they shouldn't be doing this, is if Democrats are thinking, okay, let Republicans do this, because then we're just going to pound away at this in the midterms. We're just going to flood media with ads and digital stuff so that everybody knows what Republicans did to them. So that means that you're going to let people be harmed and feel the pain, and then say, see, we told you. I see the point of that sometimes people don't believe it until it affects them. But look at all the other people who are being affected by this. I think this is a very risky endeavor by Democrats. If that is the strategy, just keep our mouths shut, let everything fall apart. And then in the midterms, that'll show them. Well, we tried that before, folks, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Democrats did not have the bandwidth to get that messaging out. Also, if you're not doing it in real time, it's not going to sink in. So this is a real missed opportunity. And again, the messaging, people say Democrats don't know how to message. Well, it's not the messaging, it's the vehicle. We need daily fact checking. You need to get in the same news cycle, on the same television broadcast. When they show clips of the White House press briefing, you need to have the Democratic one as well. If you don't provide the content, don't expect, we bitch and complain that the media are not doing their job, that they do like a he said, she said. And we're right to be upset by that. That's not journalism. The old saying, you've heard this before, that a journalist's job is not to report, well, this person says this thing, but this person says that thing. It's, this person said it's raining and this person said it isn't raining. It's your job to look out the freaking window and tell us if it's raining or not. So that is true, but it's not happening. And we know it's not happening, and it hasn't been happening for a while. So again, kudos to those of you that do the work of hunting around to find this stuff. But you shouldn't have to, frankly. You should be able to get the fact checking and the Democratic messaging and the information as soon as you turn on your TV. If you see the White House press spokes Barbie idiot person up there telling her lies and her gaslighting, you should at the same time see a Democrat, the equal of stature, or actually more stature, who I've suggested, and it should be in every broadcast. There might be some media that don't carry it, but most will, but we're not getting it. So my guess is that very few voters, especially MAGA voters, understand that 40% of babies in this country are born with their mothers on Medicaid. That goes away. That is the type of information. I came across it by accident. That is the type of information Democrats should be pounding away at every day. Because you're not going to have the opportunity in midterms. Too many things can happen. It is so risky if that's what they're waiting for. We've done that before. It didn't work. Everybody said, "Oh, when Trump gets indicted, or we'll start, they'll learn their lesson when we start, going after the lower level people who were in the Capitol on January 6th, but not go after the big guys." Right. Um, so I hope that's not what Democrats are doing. But right now, people don't know. I guarantee you, people on our side don't know. MAGA don't know that the same amount, almost $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, or what it's paying for corporate tax cuts, almost $1 trillion in corporate tax cuts. People don't know that. People don't know that their Medicare is going to be affected. They don't know that. You have to go look for the information. We shouldn't have to do that. And if you think that just pumping in a lot of money or super PAC money during the midterms is going to do the trick, I think you're sadly mistaken. First of all, we still have that consultant kickback culture, and because of Citizens United, these guys can pocket a lot of that money. And I think Democrats have ceded that space to the consultants a little bit too much. And I know that too, because when they have their big powwows, when you look at who they have and who they don't have, some of the most brilliant strategists that they have access to are not being called in. And some of them are people who used to be Republicans, true, and some maybe did more work in the states. But the people, I'm going to be, I log in to social media, and I want to see what Rachel Bycoffer is saying. I look and see what Mike Madrid is saying. And Mike Madrid was, used to be, he was a Republican. He was part of the Lincoln Project, but he got out when he saw the shenanigans that was going on there. He is brilliant when it comes to analyzing the Hispanic vote and the Latino vote. And he has written books about this, and his knowledge on this is so significant, really the best in the biz. And I've had him on my podcast over on Patreon. He wrote a book, and he was warning Democrats about a problem with young Latino men, maybe second, third generation Latino men. And he was very clear on the difference between somebody who came from Cuba or somebody who came from South America. He knows these nuances, and he was trying to help Democrats, and they didn't listen to him. And then we saw a lot of these young Latino men vote for Trump, vote Republican. So Democrats need to do better. You can't do business the way you did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You have to do better. And it is malpractice that we're not having these daily briefings. This big, ugly budget bill is so harmful. It is of historic proportion. And I think that Lisa Murkowski and even Susan Collins, well, maybe not Susan Collins, she sold out a long time ago, but I think that we could have gotten some Republicans that we didn't get to join us had we, as Democrats, done a better job of making sure that every American knew what these MAGA Republicans were in the process of doing to them. And when you don't do it, you say, well, but we'll show them in the midterms. We may not have midterms. So you cannot put off the strategy and think that it's going to work when we may not have midterms. I just think that in this era of Trump, things are too precarious, too dangerous, too risky to put it all off till tomorrow when you think you've got some brilliant strategy. So just letting it all happen now, I think it's a mistake. So just wanted to go on the record of saying so. I think we need to do a better job of fighting this every day. Yes, I understand senators are doing individual, maybe some briefings, or their own videos for the folks back home. But again, there is no centralized Democratic voice to speak for the party and for the American people and the people who are being hurt on a daily basis. And again, and I've said this before, we need to have it we need to have it daily at the Capitol building, under the auspices of Congress, paid for by Democrats in Congress. Again, I laid out how to fund this, lay out how it could be structured. I personally could I'm in DC now. I could have this up and running by Thursday and fill in the blanks later. Everything is ready-made for this. So I think Republicans and Trump are getting away with things because Democrats are letting them. And I'm getting feedback from people. They say, we don't want we hate to see all this criticism of Democrats. Republicans are the ones at fault. We don't have any influence over Republicans until we as Democrats do better. So this isn't infighting or, circular firing squad. This is about get on the stick, people, because you're blowing it and people are going to be hurt. And I don't think that it's worth it to wait for people to be hurt and have them know it and feel it and think that's going to make a difference in the midterms. Too much can happen between now and then. And also, if you're able to make some changes and influence on this around the edges on some key things that help people right now, you take credit for it at these daily briefings. And I do think that if Democrats did this, it might make some of these journalists a little bit better at their job. Because once you give them something to work with, it helps them be a little bit more fair. Okay. Again, the information is out there that we need, but we have to go hunting for it under too many rocks. And I think, again, we need to have that one-stop shopping for people. And I'm not going to let up on this. I'm not going to let up on this because it's too significant. And again, the feedback that I get from all of you is you all agree. And we're all like, why aren't Democrats doing this? So let's not let up. Let's not let up. There's also C-SPAN, a morning hour, and the 1-minute speeches and things like that. That's good fodder. It gets it in the record. And you can, if you remember Congress, tout it back home. That helps. But we also know that a very small percentage of people are watching C-SPAN and checking the congressional record. So we have to get at them many, many, many different ways. And nothing can do that like a daily briefing, daily press briefing on par with the White House press briefing. Again, the House and Senate galleries are chock full of all the press that are there. It is their job to cover Congress. So when you put this under the auspices of Congress and have it in the congressional building, there you have it. There you have it. And here's the other thing. And this is going to happen. And that Trump is good at this. When people get hurt by the Trump MAGA GOP policies because of what they've done, Trump will blame Democrats. Okay? Trump will blame Democrats. And if you think that you can fix that before the midterms, just willy-nilly, a few months before the midterms, we'll start kicking in, you're wrong. And so what you better do is take a look at this history of Trump over the past 10 years, what he's done, and how against all odds, like, how did he do that? Why don't people see this? Well, guess what? You have to make them see it. And Democrats need to do that now. If you think you're going to wait and you're going to be able to hold Republicans and Trump accountable for this, for the damage that they are doing, and you think you can wait to do that right before the midterms, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong, especially because people get their information so many different ways. So don't cede that space to Trump. Get on it now. Because like I said, I do this all the time. I do this for a living, and I have to go hunting around for information or it'll pop up here and there. And I'm more involved in this, obviously, than the regular person. So if I have to work this hard, and if you're watching this video, you probably are also one of those people that's more tuned in than the general voting population, and you have to work this hard to find information. That's the problem. The proof is in the pudding right there. So keep the pressure on Democrats to do better on this, because we are in the right. We have the right policies, And if people don't know that, then there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do except, if we are not doing the daily briefings, if we are not making sure that people know what Republicans have done, Democrats will get blamed. Trump has been doing it for 10 years. So I don't know why Democrats don't understand that they can't, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're only going to get the same results that you've always gotten. So we can do better. Thanks.